Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, also published on Patreon, yes, on Patreon also, but on Rumble, and I'm on Patreon, PayPal, all that stuff, and the Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. Just a quick side note here: if you have a YouTube channel, usually we had managed to put the links here, the direct links for everything, but now YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, decided that now it's going to stay right about here, or basically on the about page, so deep inside here, which I don't know why they decided to do this. We had like the symbols here with quick access. I don't know what they're trying to do to avoid people getting a monetization, or possibly monetization out of the channel. I think that the value for value proposition is way better than trying to induce your supporters or viewers in constant ad things here, but yeah, it is what it is. In any case, now you know it's in the about page, or here it appears at least the first link and 5 more links. I have to review this again because I want to change a little bit here the priorities here, but yeah, just a quick side note. So let's get started. We're seeing more AMD CPU discounts here. Similarly, the 7800X 3D now drops to 381, and the 5800X 3D around 270, which is very good prices here. Some of them are all over the place. So Amazon got the 7900X 3D, not the best option. It's kind of a middle ground to a certain degree in both in performance, in terms of productivity and gaming. But if you are more into gaming than in production apps, of course the 7800X 3D is the best one at the moment. Taking even an account the Intel ones, this is at Newegg, this promo. And the 77X, it's the better solution if you are a little bit more on the budget side, more restrained on budget side. 276 or 275 give or take. It's a very good CPU, almost. It's a little bit better than in terms of performance of gaming, the 5800X 3D, give or take. It's around that kind of performance. In terms of productivity, if it's not at the same level of 7800 3D, it's a little bit better, I think, from what I remember from the benchmarks that I saw when they came out. And all of this as, of course, the bundle with the Starfield game. I think all of these ones, if not mistaken, have the premium edition or whatever it's called. So not the base game, but it has the base game plus the other stuff. As you can see, 391 should have like the 10% off with the promo code as usual. And from the 5000 series, so the previous generation, these ones, the CPUs, I don't think they have the Starfield stuff. Only the 68 or 6900 XTs GPUs that have the Starfield deal. I covered that like a few days ago, but I forget exactly which ones have the deal with Starfield. But still, if you are hoping to, you are on an AM4 platform and you have like a very older CPU and you want to upgrade it, I think from all of these ones, of course, it's the 5800X 3D, very good, still plays it. I don't see any issues. You're not going to get behind on the thing for a few years with this CPU. Just make sure to upgrade your BIOS if you have like a 3000 series CPU on older motherboards, and I think any motherboard that can handle this, because this is have lower power limits than the 5000 series. I think you're okay as long as you update your BIOS before installing the 5800X 3D in older boards here. And basically this is it regarding like kind of deals. They're being pretty consistent here. AMD, in terms of, at least on the CPU side, they are doing some discounts here and there, and I think it's a good thing, especially now on the summer. A lot of people are on vacation. Maybe they have some disposable income regarding the vacation part here, even though I think it's a little bit harder in overall scheme of things. But yeah, it's always good to see some promos here, and the micro recommendations are for these three. If you are on a newer platform and depending on your budget constraints, the 7800X 3D or the 7700X, and of course older platforms, 5800X 3D is the best choice, at least in terms of performance to value. But yeah, I think they are good deals here. Also, we heard that AMD revealed Starfield Limited Edition, the 7900 XTX and the 7800X 3D, which I don't know why, seems a little bit silly. The only thing that you can do with the CPU is put the package there, but I think it's try to sell as a combo here, the CPU with the GPU, even though you cannot do it. If they offered like a cooler with this like special edition, I think if they put like a cooler that was Starfield theme, I think it would be better suited, but I don't know, they didn't get the extra effort, just the packaging rebranding here, so that's why I don't think they went to the trouble of doing like launching a combo cooler with this CPU. The GPU, it's a reference card from AMD. It's okay, it's Starfield thing here. They are not badly designed, but I think it's okay for what it is. Usually I prefer AIBs because you can pay a little bit more, but I think in terms of performance and what you can get out of it, especially also in terms of cooling, I suppose this is the revised version of the vapor chamber, so I suppose we will not have like the same issues that we had in some vapor chambers from the reference XTX cards. This is limited edition, 500 GPUs. There are 500 from each, I think, from what I understood. At least the GPUs are only 500, and the only way that you can get one of these is getting into giveaway. There should be some announcements on the DO giveaway, supposedly, according to the article. I think, I'm not sure. QuakeCon, so AMD and Bethesda, yeah. Follow up those accounts, I suppose on Twitter, it's more than enough. They should be doing an announcement soon enough. We got some more details here. I kind of find it interesting that Bethesda is very good on their branding stuff. Sorry, especially with the Fallout games, they're very good on that kind of marketing stuff and how they do the design language, and Starfield is on that path, very, very decent, a very NASA punk style kind of you can get the feeling of watching that, like the terrain maps here and everything, very, very, very decent. But yeah, you got like an announcement trailer, but yeah, it is what it is. It is going to be a collector's edition to a certain degree, and I suppose the people that will win it on the giveaway will sell it on eBay for huge amounts of money, which is not justifiable for me. But yeah, regarding gaming news, not much happening except for a big news. Oh my god, my laptop is loading the page again. Okay, Lords of the Fallen. We got a lot of previews coming out. I watched Extra Life and which one? I watched another preview. I forgot which YouTuber was. I completely blank out on the other person that I watched the preview from it. I really, and there was a more in-depth length. Oh, I know, Zeostorm, I think. I will leave his video on the link in the video link in the description below. Sorry, but yeah, here this article talks about a little bit on the minimum specs, which are on par from what it is. The preview, they didn't get like to capture the footage, but they talked about that the videos that they've been launching in terms of marketing, it's on par with the experience that they had, which is a very positive sign. It plays a lot like similar to Dark Souls, for lack of better terms. Even they had some hard time to explain a little bit, except for Fracture Life. I think they went about the combat a little bit. It's kind of a mixture of influences of Dark Souls with some Bloodborne-esque kind of things. I never played Bloodborne, but it's more of a quick pace with more dodging and parrying style there. The dodge mechanics and the parrying mechanics, the block and the combat bosses and everything seems pretty fluid. Some just one or two bugs that happen. But it's like not the final version of the build of the game, but yeah, it seems pretty good. From it's what we expected that Lords of the Fallen, the first game, was supposed to be, basically. Even the thing from the between worlds that you have, like navigating between the worlds, is very fluid, and there is like no gimmicky things here. Seems pretty good, because they had that in account when designing the world and the stages there. But it's very influenced with it's an alternative to Dark Souls, so with their own twists. I think Magic works a little bit better than the From Software games, because usually Magic is a little bit iffy in terms of usage and the practical uses, and I think they did a better job here. But yeah, it's an alternative and inspired from software games, which is good. It's the best way of trying to complement the thing, and they say they had a great time playing the game on that preview, around 2.5 hours, I think. You have the hands-on preview here, impressions for them, and regarding the system requirements, I think they are kind of good enough. The only thing here is to take into account the minimum specs. It's to run at 720p 30 fps, which is not that good, and the recommended settings here are for 1080p 60 frames per second, from what I understood here, which goes in par with the fact that this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, so we'll drive up a little bit on your hardware here. I will focus here on 1080p 60 frames, 200 an RTX 2080 or a 6700X non-XT. Sorry, I think it's on par with this. It's around 8 gigabytes of VRAM, mainly because of the fact that it's Unreal Engine. It will drive you up a little bit on the VRAM onto your GPU, so take that in account. And of course, as you can see here, lower VRAM GPUs. This is a 1060, which is my latest. The last GPU that I had the 66 gigabytes one. It's been 6 years, I think, or around that time frame that I had this last GPU on my DIY PC. Still playable in a lot of at this time and age, which is good to see, even though it's 720. You can try to pick up to 1080, but if you have to lower a little bit on the settings, even though here it's already low quality settings, and of course SSDs for the loading stuff. Not a huge game, 45 gigabytes, which is good enough for me. And of course CPU 8th generation Intel, and even a Ryzen 3600 can play this game. And of course 16 gigabytes of VRAM, system RAM. Here the 12 gigabytes, I don't know if it is aiming for like older systems, and at least the minimum 12 gigabytes. So I think this day and age, if you have like in the last build a PC, but last, I don't know, 2 years, you should be pretty okay. Especially you have like something similar in terms of performance with this. I think you're just fine to play the game at least in 1080p, 60 frames per second, high quality settings. But yeah, seems pretty good so far in terms of what this game is offering. But yeah, in other news also we got some, oh my god, some Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, Baldur's Gate is a complete game by itself. It was made with that in mind. I don't know why people, I think that people are so used to of having freaking DLCs in every game that now they are getting a little bit admired that there is supposedly there was never plans to put out some DLC on extra content in terms of that interferes with the gameplay, because this game is a complete experience. I don't know why people will want to more content if it's not going to add anything on the game itself. People forget that most of the DLC here that is launched with games, it's something that was basically or cut out, or when they were developing the game, they had already the DLCs taken in account on the development process. So that's why it usually integrates okay-ish in most parts with the main game stuff. And here, because mostly, from at least from my perception, from Sven Vink, the CEO of Larian Studios, is mainly because of mostly of the D&D rule set and how it plays out on the game itself. Usually, supposedly, I never played any D&D game, so I'm a little bit out of my depth here, but supposedly the players can only reach to level 12. There are some options or I don't know, instances that you can go to level 20. But usually, if they try to add like more playable DLC, it will start messing around too much on, for example, end game. How probably the players will get too much OP on the process, so the balance will be out of bounds to a certain degree. But yeah, I think they didn't mean to do. They don't need to justify themselves with the fact that it unbalanced the game. Of course, if it is not planned, if you add more content, extra content, it probably will be unbalanced the game. And I think it's plus the fact that they have already 17,000 permutations of ending of the end game. When you finish the game, so it will take huge amounts of work to build a DLC here around the main game. And I think when you have in the good old days, when you have a game launched, it was launched as it is, and usually you didn't get even like if you have a bug, you have to live with that bug forever. But at least the experience was as intended to be played with. And usually, if they wanted to add more content, they make a new game for that, like a sequel or something like that. I think Baldur's Gate should be an aspiration for every developer when they develop a game. I think it's an excellent benchmark because the game is complete. It only has like minor bugs here and there. And there are basically not a lot of performance issues, even though overall there is nothing game breaking. The game is pretty basically. I don't know, finished. I don't know the best word to describe it. It's something that we had in the old days when we didn't have like the internet, like Mega Drive, Game Boy. When you pick up that cartridge and start playing it, it's the experience that you had with or without bugs or without anything break. It was as intended at the time. And here we have the fact that we have a complete game. We have the internet that provides the ability for the developers to improve on some bugs, polish out some like final stuff that probably they didn't get on the QA part of the development. But I think we are more than enough with the Baldur's Gate. I think it's a complete experience, no need and to justify to try to bring up DLC just because people are getting used to DLC, which is a scam to a certain degree. That's why I usually don't like too much, but I understand the business perspective. But if Baldur's Gate Larian Studios can make this, I think every studio should strive to do the same in terms of making games. Now going for the portion of upcoming games that at least they have good previews. Liza P had has gone gold in the past day or so. It's aiming for the launch date of 19th December, which is pretty good. Still, you can download the demo and try out. I think like around 1.5 hours or 2 of gameplay possible, from what I understood. I think it's going to be an excellent game here from what they are trying to aim for, so don't expect, again, people don't put your expectation thinking this is going to be a From Software game in terms of how it plays. This is more like Bloodborne style, from what I understood, in terms of gameplay, than other Dark Souls influenced games. But I think the fact that the setting here, you have also the Legion arm mechanic, you got also the lie system, so you can lie or not, and that will influence the outcome of the game. But yeah, seems pretty good. I will leave, of course, links on the Steam pages for this game for you to wishlist, so you don't get lost on the sea of launches that are coming throughout this year. Also, we got the Lamplighters League. This is going to be showcased more a little bit on Gamescom by the end of this month, 23 to 25, something like that. I think it's going to be a good game. It's kind of a thing of around like XCOM style games, very influenced that, with some twist mechanics similar to Mutineer Zero and Miasma Chronicles in terms of the combat. And of course, we had the tactical layer and the strategy layer as usual. The setting seems to be like the 20s, kind of Indiana Jones style kind of a thing here, which I like very much. Ragtag team of thieves and scoundrels too, and has some mystical stuff here, so around artifact and how they can save the world. And lastly, we got here Lords of Fallen, of course. I just spoke about it. I will put it here for you to wishlist. It's a shame that it doesn't have a demo. They should release a demo, I don't know, by the end of this month. I think it will be good, because I think from the previews that people are having, I think launching a demo will be very productive, at least in terms of sales for them. But yeah, now I'm going to wrap up some gaming deals. We got Stray, which is around 25% off. The soundtrack edition, 28% off. I don't know what the soundtrack is. I think what it encompasses here. I don't know if it has the value of $6, but you can support it. An independent studio, an indie developer here, published by Annapurna. I think it's a overwhelming positive. It's a cat. You play as a cat. What you can say about it? Also, we got the Long Dark indie game. It's coming around like some years now, but I think it's a very complete experience. Also, I remember seeing this on early access before it launched. I think this is counting the release date of the early access, but yeah, it seems pretty good. Like a survival one, you have to take into account the cold, the environment and everything. Got some wolves, bears and all that stuff, and you got story now. At the time of early access, they were trying to fine-tune more about the survival mechanics, and now you have some story here, some investigations of some mysteries. From what I understood, and I think it's a pretty good one if you're interested in this kind of game. So 25% off, I think it's a good deal here. Also, we got Journey. Again, it's 50% off. It's one of those, I think it's a must play here to have this experience here with this kind of game. No text, no dialogue, no nothing, just experience the game and see how they manage to communicate throughout the language in terms of gameplay and in terms of graphics, the visuals. I think it's an excellent experience, even at full price, but still we have here 50% off on this game. Also, we got the Tomb Raider franchise. It's wrapping up around 1 day or so, give or take, when this video is published. So the free games are around between 80 to 75, I think. Yeah, the 20 years celebration is way better. It has everything. The Baba Yaga stuff also. I think this is one that has the Baba Yaga, the Rise of the Tomb Raider stuff. And I made a series of this with the base game here, a gameplay series, so that's it. And I bought this definitive edition recently. I don't know why it doesn't appear here, but it's around. Where is it? Let's Tomb Raider. It's cheap. It's like Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's $10, so it's cheap here. the definitive edition is well worth paying. It's very cheap. I think it's well worth it. But yeah, this is it, guys. I'm going to wrap up for today, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.